1 second of set. We're going to move our soliloquents over a little bit. Just as a reminder. They say that clutter is the result of postponed decisions. I always have a lot on my plate. Sometimes I go a mile a minute. Sometimes I take longer to make decisions than I ought to because I have such an array of things to do on my plate. Almost all of them are of my own making. When we returned from our trip in September, the house not only felt huge, but it felt really cluttered. I couldn't believe it. There was piles everywhere. At least that's the way it felt. Most particularly my office. And, when you looked over in the living room, there was a little pile under the lamp, and in the kitchen, there's that same pile of crap that was left on the chair that nobody ever sits in. And we thought that we left the house sort of clean when we left, but we didn't. And not only that, not only did we not leave it as clean as we thought we did, the clean that we thought was good before is no longer acceptable after living in a 500 square foot boat for a year. So now everything's got to be put in its place. So we embarked upon a quest to clean the house. And since we decided that we love this boating lifestyle and eventually we want to live on a boat and not live in our house, that means that the crap's got to go. The clutter has to go. So we began to clean. And my husband, he is retired, and this becomes his job. So about every day, he comes to me and he says, is that something I should know about?
When you say a lot of clutter words like so.
Oh, great, thank you. We embarked upon this cleaning effort, and he keeps bringing up items that need to go. So he brings up this quilt that's his mother's quilt. His grandmother made it, or his great-grandmother made it, or some really ancient person made it. And I said, no, that's not the kind of stuff that represents clutter in my mind. How about this shot chiller that we used once at the marina to make liquor really cold and totally delicious? No, you could get rid of that one. How about this cradle that your father made and this high chair that my great-grandmother had that we're unlikely to ever use again, and our children are unlikely to want to ever use it again? Yep, that can go. So how about this extra scuba equipment? Okay, that can go. And then one day he brought up this, and I stopped in my tracks. Does anybody have any guesses to what this is?
Short trombone.
It is, in fact, thank you. It is a trombone. It is a trombone case. This is my father's trombone case. My father's been dead since 1995. He died shortly after we got married, my husband and I. This is a picture of me really quite a bit much more attractive than I am now. And with my father, he's the one with the beard. And that's at our wedding in 1994 in October, and he died in January of 1995. So he died just after that. And this is a picture of my father with his trombone when he was a professional musician. And this is my uncle, his brother, who played the trumpet. So this makes me stop in my tracks, because this isn't just clutter to me. At least I didn't think so. And I didn't think I would cry, so please put up with me. When I see this, it brings back such memories. My father made this case. He put it together in the basement. He used to like to work with wood. Our basement was a total disaster. I know where I get this. It comes very naturally to me. Piles and piles of stuff and projects and things. But he made this case. He put the wood together in the basement. He put the hinge together. He put the cover on it. And he brought it upstairs and he finished it on the dining room table. And the inside, let's see if I can do this without knocking too much stuff over. The inside is totally made by hand. He went to the store and picked out the material. It's soft, and every piece fits. exactly perfectly. When I open this, it feels like he's right here. He's right here with me. I have no idea how to use a trombone. I got his interest in doing a million things at once from my father, but I never knew how to use a trombone. I don't play an instrument. I used to play very badly the piano, but I believe that it goes together. I don't know how it goes together. So we'll put it back. But this trombone is handmade. This is made for him. This is the only person who ever used this was my father. This trombone was made by Schilke, and the handwriting on here. This is from Mr. Schilke himself. Now, Mr. Schilke, you see the writing on it? You see that? Mr. Schilke is from Chicago. He was a horn maker. He makes Wynton Marsalis' horns. Actually, someone else probably does because he's probably dead. Okay? If you see this, the only handprints that are on this, aside from mine right now, are my father's. And you can see how it's worn. You see? You see how it's worn? You see right here? It's all worn. This is where he would have touched it. This is so cool, huh? That's where he would have done that. The favorite piece, favorite story that comes to mind, and I just want to make sure we have it in here still. Oops. Try not to hurt it. Try to put it back together the way it came out. These are his mouthpieces. A mouthpiece, I don't know if you know this, but a professional horn player has a mouthpiece that's made exclusively for him. So the only person who ever used this mouthpiece was my father. It was made for him. And again, I'll pass it around. It says Schilke on it. I remember when I was about 8 years old. There are a number of these. I know that, and they have those cute little cases. Aren't they adorable? And they all look a little, they all look exactly the same to me, but to my father, he would have said, oh, I need this one for this event, and I need this one for this kind of music. He played, it's got his name on it. Roger J. Drew. He needed a new mouthpiece, and so he ordered it from Mr. Schilke, and he took me one time, I was about 8 years old, and we went downtown to Chicago, grew up in Chicago, remember that, and Mr. Schilke's office, his shop was on Wabash Avenue, underneath the L tracks, right on the east side of the Loop. You've almost certainly been there. It's on the south side of the Loop, so if you know where the Palmer House is, just keep walking south on Wabash. And you ring the doorbell, climb the steps, ring the doorbell, and Mr. Schilke buzzes us in. We walk up the stairs. And you walk up the stairs, and here's his office. His office was his manufacturing operation. This is where he made things so that you see bits and pieces of horns all put together, all taken apart, laying around there waiting to be addressed in some fashion. And he comes up and he says, hi, Roger, how you doing? Here's your mouthpiece. And my dad blew on it, and checked it, and Mr. Schilke took it away and made some final adjustments, and he blew in it again. He said, yes, this is exactly what I need. And he put it in the cute little case, and we went home. But that memory, just every time I see these, it just sends chills down my spine. That is something that my father did. Now, when does clutter become clutter? And when does it become an emotional attachment that must be dealt with? I have no idea what to do with my father's horn, but I know that it is not clutter. Thank you very much.